Hey artists, today we're going to make these amazing line monsters. Follow along with me and I'll show you all the steps.
The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my paper is portrait style and not landscape style. I want it tall up and down. Now I'm going to take my black crayon and I'm going to make some different kinds of lines. I could do a zigzag line. I could try a bumpy line. I could try a curly line. I could try some straight lines. I could do a crisscross line. I could do a polka dot line. And once I have some different lines all the way from one side of my paper to the other side of my paper, from the top to the bottom, then I am ready to start painting. I've got my paints ready, so I'm going to dip into the water. And I remember that we're not going to tap our brush because that is going to get water all over the place. I get the water, and if there's too much dripping, I just touch the inside of my container so it doesn't splash water. Then I'm going to pick a color, maybe like this yellow. And I'm going to color inside between some of these lines I made. That is already looking so pretty. And so I get a little bit more water, and I'm going to fill up that space in between my lines with color. And then I'm going to wash my brush nice and clean and choose a different color. So I take my water, wash that brush nice and clean to get all the yellow off, touch the side so I don't splash water, and I can choose a different color, like maybe this blue. So I'm going to get that blue paint ready, and I'm going to paint in this next section of my paper. And so we are going to paint every section of our page with different colors. And I'm always going to remember to wash my brush in between to make sure that I don't get the wrong colors on each other and get my paints dirty. All right, so I'm carefully painting this spot. And then I wash my brush clean in the water, and I'm going to choose a different color. I'll go for this pink color. So you are going to be taking your time and painting in every space between your lines until your whole page is painted in. That looks really pretty. Washing my brush clean and choosing a different color. All right, I got that all painted in and it looks amazing. I'm going to set it to the side and let it dry. And I'm going to move on to creating some eyes for my little monster. So I have some small black squares and some bigger white squares. Now, since a monster is make-believe, I could have one eye, two eyes, or five eyes. It's whatever you would like. I remember that when I'm taking a square and turning it into a circle, I cut off the pointy corners. Goodbye, pointy corner. And I just kind of curve my scissors to make a curve where that pointy corner used to be. Goodbye, pointy corner. 2 more. Goodbye, pointy corner. And goodbye to you, pointy corner. And I have a nice round eye. I've decided I'm going to do 4 eyes for my monster. So that means 4 more times. I pick up my white square and I cut off those pointy corners by turning and just trimming off that pointy corner and making it round. So now I have 2, 3. Gotta get all these corners out of here. And my 4th eye. Goodbye, pointy corner. Goodbye, pointy corner. We are turning into a circle. Alrighty. There are 4 amazing eyes. But those eyes look empty. I need the middle part of the eye to show where my monster is looking. So I'm going to do the same thing with the little black squares. I'm going to cut off the corners and make them round. And there is an eye. I've got to do that 3 more times. So I cut off those corners. Goodbye, you pointy corners. I am making a circle. And 1 more. Get rid of those pointy corners. 1 more corner. All right, I have 4 amazing eyes. Now I could have them all looking forward. This is what's fun, is they can kind of move around. They could all be looking right at me. They could all be looking that way, like, ooh, what's over there? Maybe they're all looking over there. Maybe they're all looking over here. Or you could make them kind of like googly eyes and have them all over the place. Some eyes are looking here, there, and everywhere. You're going to get your glue stick and you're going to glue the black part of the eye onto the white part of the eye. I'm going to have one eye looking forward and the other ones are going to be looking that way. All right, there we go. The next thing I get to do is think about what kind of mouth I want for my monster. Now, I'm going to use black to make the mouth, and I could do any kind of style. I could take a scrap of paper and just make like a smile. So it's like a curve and then another curve. So I could have a little smile like that. I could also take my paper and I could cut out like a big mouth that maybe is open like this. Like that. I could have a mouth that's a little shorter. We could put teeth on these mouths too. So with some of that white paper, we can cut out some teeth shapes. So they're going to be like triangle shapes. So we can cut out some different triangle shapes. I could have some little kind of vampire teeth, or I could have a tooth coming up from the bottom of his mouth. You can make it shorter. You can have one tooth coming up like that. I could have some teeth on my smile. Maybe he's got teeth that are sticking out of his smile like this. So you can decide what kind of mouth you would like for your monster. The next step is taking this piece of paper, now that it's dry, and cutting it into our monster shape. I want to go ahead and curve just the top. So I'm going to curve, it might be easier to see when I turn it to the back. I'm going to curve off this corner and this corner. So I'm going to turn my scissors and cut off that big pointy corner. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm going to cut off that big pointy corner. And that makes my monster have a nice round head. And then I can decide where I want to put his eyes. And I can decide which mouth I would like to put on my monster. Do I want a mouth that's kind of like this with just a little tooth where it looks like he's saying, ah? Or do I want one where he's got his mouth open with his teeth like this? That looks pretty good. Or do I want to do the smile with his little teeth sticking out like this? So many choices. I could turn it like this, have his teeth like that. Oh, that looks pretty good. So whenever I'm ready, I'm going to get my glue stick. I'm going to glue his eyes onto his face. Using my glue stick, just putting some glue on the back and putting it on my page. And then I'm going to glue on his mouth. Wherever we think it looks best. And then glue on those teeth. Oh, I like him a whole lot. That's looking amazing. My last step is I'm going to glue my monster onto the background. I got a piece of black paper to be the background. And I set my monster down on it. And I thought, you know, I'd like to take this and cut more of a squiggly line to make it look like my monster has a little bit more character. So I'm going to make a squiggly at the bottom. All right, now my monster has a little better shape. And I'm going to get my glue stick and glue my monster onto the background. Uh-oh. There we go. I think the best way to get it to stick is I take my paper and I turn it over and I rub on the back to get that glue to stick those two pieces of paper right together. All right, flipping this back over, there is my monster. I would like to add maybe a couple of other things, some other fun things we could add. We could give our monster some horns. So I could cut some more triangles here. Give my monster some silly horns. If you wanted to, you could give your monster a bow on its head. You could give your monster a little bow tie down here on its neck. And so that's kind of your choice of any other little things you would like to add to your monster. And then we're going to glue those on. I can't wait to see the kind of monster that you create.